See, in Fiji, 83% of land used to be managed by the Native Land Trust Board, and they belong to the native Fijians. But there was about 7% of land that fell under Schedule A and Schedule B. That means they fell under extinct Matangali. And in the last parliament, this land was also transferred to the Fijians. So currently they own not only 90% of the total land, but they also own all the resources. That means the foreshore and the sea and all the fish in the sea. So except for, I think, air, which in time to come they may also lodge a claim to, I think they own virtually whole of the land and the sea. And Indo-Fijians are generally a landless community here, and the other 10% of the land is owned by either they fall in the freehold category, or it is owned by the crown.
So what rules and laws and customs were changed after the independence?
Sir, ये मैं hold करना. I think ये लगा latest election में है. इसकी you need to cover from that as well.
So हाँ तो वही पर चलते हैं. So
अभी कौन सी question है इसमें ना?
हमने इस इलानिमेट करो. Let's go back. So what do you think happened in the last election when Maitra Chaudhary, there was a coup by George Speight? What happened there?
That's 1999 elections, where people, as I had already mentioned, people were very disillusioned with with Ramuka's government. There was a high level of mismanagement, high level of corruption. Therefore, people just gave up on Ramuka's regime, and they voted for the coalition, Labour and the Fijian Association. And because of that, Chaudhary had a landslide majority, and they formed the government. And during the period of time, they could only rule for 1 year when George Speight came in. They were doing very well within that 1 year. They were able to turn the economy around. There was a deficit and they brought it to surplus. There was a lot of benefits coming down. They had a lot of plans to develop the native land and bring up the living standard of the Fijian people. But all this while there was a conspiracy going on within the Fijian community, which felt that if Chaudhary continued ruling for the 5 years and brought this country to economic limelight, and all the indigenous Fijians started having faith in the Indian leader, then they will lose their limelight. So therefore, to neutralize the effect of Chaudhary government, these people conspired together with the big fat cats of the Indo-Fijian business community, which were also affected under Chaudhary's regime, because under the Fijian regime, many of them could get away with murder in not paying proper taxes and in indulging in underhand dealings, while Chaudhary was trying to clean up all the mess. So what these fat cat business people did is they provided funding, and in fact I think the police department is currently investigating those people who funded the George Speight coup, and they together conspired with the Fijians, disgruntled section of Fijian community, to stage the coup, which overthrew Chaudhary's government on 19th May 2000.
So what do you think happened at this last election in 2006?
Well, in the last election, since Garase government had been in power, they had put in place many affirmative action programs. They have been using public funds left, right and center as a vote buying thing. In fact, before this election, there's still investigation going on agricultural scam, where about 16 to 18 million dollars of public funds were used as campaign funds by the SDL party. where certain big hardware companies are implicated, where they gave away things to Fijians out in the villages to gain support, and similar tactics were also used during these last elections. And in the last election, there was a very close call, and I think because of granting of preferences and some questionable happenings, things that happened in certain areas, that also included the registration of voters and other things that Labour Party had already brought to the attention of the people who were scrutinizing the election. Once again, the Grace government was able to sort of have slight majority in the last elections.
So how you think Grace government is doing so far?
Well, the 1997 constitution allowed for multi-party government, and currently we have a multi-party government, which is good. I think I must give credit to Grace, also to Chaudhary, for accepting the spirit of coexistence, where the Labour Party parliamentarians are ministers. 9 of them have been welcomed into the multi-party government, and no, I think that is the way ahead. We need to coexist in this country. We cannot exist in different compartments of Indians and Fijians. We need to share together, and this is one country, one people, and I think the new multi-party government should be given an opportunity to thrive, so that all the people are brought into the fold of managing this place.
So what do you see the future of Fiji? What do you see in Fiji's future?
Well, there are two sides of the coin. If our leaders do not become selfish, and by leaders I mean both Grace and Chaudhary, they need to bow down to the public demand. What public demand is that they are fed up of this politics of race, politics of confrontation, and politics of division. What we want, grassroots people want, is for us to work together, and multi-party is the best thing that is for this country. And if the multi-party works, then we have good future. If the multi-party does not work, then we will go back to this dark days of 87 and 2000, when we will still have the racial division, and because of that this country will never progress. Fiji has potential of being another Singapore, where we can prosper together. This country is rich in the natural resources, in talents, in its people, and our leaders, our people have got a lot of goodwill. We can forgive and forget our past and our differences, and we can work together. So I think together we have a very bright future if our leaders come down their high horses and let us all together work for the country.
So once if it's repeat to Singapore, say this country has a good
Okay. I think one of the countries that we can compare Fiji with is Singapore. Singapore is the size of Lake Taupo, if you know the history of our geography of New Zealand. Lake Taupo is one small lake in the center of North Island of New Zealand. That's a very small place, Singapore. But because of its leadership, Lee Kuan Yew, his vision, the country is where it is today. Because that country is ruled very efficiently and effectively by its leader, where you have no place for racism. Opportunities are given to all its people. Everybody contributes to the country. You don't have Indians or Chinese there. You all have Singaporeans there. So I think similarly Fiji, we should all be Fijians. We should forget our past. We should work together. We are very rich, natural resources. Sea is full of fish. Land is full of rich soil, which can produce very rich sugar plantation and dalo and other primary produce. We have gold, we have copper, and I think together, if we all work together, I think if we bring on the land and the natural resources of Fijian and take on the administrative capability and and good governance capability of Indians in managing the finances, and also take the quality of all our educated people of all races, bring them together to work together for the benefit of this country, I think we could surpass Malaysia and Singapore and become a rich country in the Pacific, and as people say, Fiji the way the world should be. And I think if we coexist together, if our leaders come down their high horses and do not work for their selfish political ends, but work for the whole country, then I think together we can prosper. And Fiji will be a country where all of you people who are aware of this country would like to come back and retire in the country of your birth or country of your parents or your forefathers.
तो एक क्वेश्चन सब क्वेश्चन आंसर
Only have to. You know, the most probably, I think you need to ask this to some Fijian leaders as well, Indian political leaders. Generally, people are not opposed to Great Council of Chiefs, right? What they feel is that it has its own place, because when we had trouble in this country, I think Great Council of Chiefs was the stabilizing factor. But because this country, all the land and other things are safeguarded by law, by the Native Land Act. Because when British ceded Fiji when Fiji was given to British, they promised to look after the indigenous, and I think the Great Council of Chiefs is doing that. So it has a role to play. But where the human rights issue of the United Nations come in, then I think that takes precedent over the Great Council of Chiefs. Yes.
So you give me the right to use this interview in television?
Yes, as long as you use proper acknowledgement, yes.
Okay, और कुछ नहीं मतलब बोले?
No, I think this.
Okay, so what do you think happened with Girmit?
See, Girmit was a period 1869 to 1916 when 60,000 of our people were brought from India to work in plantations in Fiji. Most of them were from Uttar Pradesh, Basti area, but there were others from Rajasthan and now in Delhi area and other parts of India. That was indeed a very sad part of Fiji's history. The unfortunate part in Fiji is that the contribution of Girmitiyas have been forgotten by the historians. When we studied in school, we read about Lutuna Somba Somba, where did the Fijians come from? We read about the wars of Rewans and Bowans and Lawans. We read about the feats of the British, how they ruled the world. We read about other European history. But the only history that you read about our people is that they needed people to work on cane farms, and they brought laborers from India to work on farms, and that's where our history ends. I think this is a ploy by the British in particular, together with CSR company, together with Australians, to hide the atrocities and the devilish things that they did to our forefathers. They have stolen our history. They failed to tell the world the atrocities the white men did to our people in those 20 or so years.
What they did? What do you think they did?
Our people were made to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. They were made to live in 8x4 houses. Don't call them houses, you call them pigsty. They call them coolie lines. When ladies give birth to the children, they were made forced to go and work in the farms. There was no maternity leave. In many cases, children gave birth on plantations while the people were working there. And in many cases, when people died, they were not offered proper burial rights, because under the British rule, under the Sahibs, you were not allowed to go to funerals. That's why when people died, they were buried on the corner of the field, what you call made. Today, many of the farms are littered with graveyards of Girmitiyas who died without having their final rites done. That's why at times when you go into the cane field, you hear the rustling of the cane field and you feel as if the souls of your forefathers are crying to you, crying to us, the people who have come up to ask for retribution. What have these people done to us? People have paid for their crimes, but the British, the Australians and the CSR company, which benefited from the blood and the sweat of our forefathers, have gone unscathed. I give credence to my friend, the author of Tears in Paradise, Rajan Prasad. I think if you haven't read that book, I will tell you to read that book, because that book gives a complete breakdown of things that happened from 1869, when the first people came to Fiji, to the current political upheavals in Fiji. And on his own, he has already written to the British government, to the CSR company, and to the Australian government, seeking redress for the wrongs that was done to our people. And